Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today I'm in lovely Bavaria, my home country. And we are about a few minutes south of Augsburg at the SinGold Distillery. The SinGold Distillery was established 2017 and named after the same river that is just a few miles in that direction. SinGold has kind of a theme. In German it doesn't really mean something. In English, the sin is actually like the sin, like you commit a sin, like some alcohol and tobacco is considered a sin by the church. So this is resembled by the dark color inside. You have dark painted walls, and then you have the gold part, which is all resembled by the gold color around in the distillery with a nice brass and the paint on the outside of the distillery. And what is awesome about this distillery, it's actually experience distillery, a show distillery. So you can come into the distillery, you can see the person who is making the whiskey, who is running the still, is actually just a few feet away from you and making the spirit, and you can really experience how the whiskey is made. So let's go in and find out about the details. So here we are at the mashing, and it has a stainless steel masher, 1,600 liters capacity. It's about filled to 1,200 liters. The water does not come from the river, although they are in contact with the local fishery. They check the water quality, so it should be no problem to use the water, but the distillery is a bit cautious on that direction. So they get it from a local water source, from a local well, and this water quality is checked very, very regularly. But they also do still have a purifier where they can adjust the hardness of the water. That is really important for making the whiskey. The barley is a German malt, and they use a few different kind of malts to get a bit of a crisp flavor, a caramel flavor, all these nice sweet flavors that you want to have in your whiskey. The very, very special thing about the mashing here is they only do mashing. They never do any lautering. Lautering is the process where you take the liquid part out and you filter the solid parts. You take the liquid parts into the fermenting, and then you're left with the solid parts. So they don't do that. They take even the solids into the fermenting tank, which is the very, very classical way of making whiskey. So next up, the fermenting. They have a stainless steel fermenter. It's also 1,600 liters capacity. They fill up to 1,200 liters. They use normal distiller's yeast. They are able to cool the fermentation process, so they get a nice soft touch on the whiskey. And they use about 5-6 days to ferment their mash and get a yield of about 10% alcohol, so you're left with 120 liters of alcohol. And here we are at the heart piece of the distillery. The distillery is a small still with about 300 liters of size. And we call in German the head of the still is actually a unique piece, because usually they are built for fruit schnapps, but this one is a whiskey head piece and it is uniquely designed for the SinGold Distillery. After the distillation in the pot, it goes through a rectifier with 3 plates, so you have kind of a quadruple distillation. The distillation process is very pure. It comes out at about 80% alcohol, and Here we see the system where the alcohol is counted for the German tax people, and what the specialty about the distillery is that they only use the centerpiece. So they have the faints and all of that before and after the centerpiece they collect and throw it away. So there's no recycling within the pot. So you only have the hard piece with about 80% of alcohol. And this here is the showroom warehouse. It can house about 50 casks. It's not filled very much yet because the distillery was built in 2017 and it is therefore pretty new. There is already a SinGold whiskey on the market, and that's because the distillery, the company for the distillery was established in 2012, and it was the person, the CEO of the company who runs the company as one-man show. He already produced whiskey on very similar stills with similar recipes in license from other distilleries, filled them in casks, and now all the casks are distributed around Germany, where he got to know the trade of making whiskey. The casks are not filled with 80% alcohol, but they are filled with about 65% alcohol, which is about 130 proof for all you American folks with your fancy units. And what is also very interesting is that they have a philosophy of letting the casks breathe. A cask has contact with the spirit, and there's interaction and maturity going on. But if you heat and cool a cask, then you have much more interaction because the wood is expanding and contracting. And how they do that is they just leave holes up in the top. So it's actually not really fully enclosed, this room here. There's only just a little bit of fencing there, so insects can't go in and out, so you don't have any vermin in here. And the thing is then, when it's cold in winter, you get the cold air from the Bavarian winter in here. So around -7, something -10 degrees Celsius is the coldest it gets in winter. So this here will be about freezing temperature. So it's about 0 degrees in here in winter. But in summer, it can come 30 degrees, 25 degrees Celsius. So you will have a lot of interaction with the wood and a lot of strong flavors, therefore, in the whiskey. Yeah, that was it. I'm not sure if the whiskey is available internationally. Depends on when you watch this video. This is one of my first videos with 360 degrees. So if you like the video, please leave a thumbs up. And if I should do more of these videos, please leave a comment if you can experience this 360 degrees video on any special console, on any, I don't know, mobile phone or any VR device. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.